Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Marco, a life coach, and I am doing a series on the communication between men and women with a focus on relationships. And today I wish to touch upon a topic that affects probably every single one of us. I mean, I wish to talk about emotional blackmail, and I don't really know any person who managed to get through life without being exposed to it. And I've had personal recent experiences with it. My wife had an episode or a few episodes where I was exposed or put under or pressured by periods of long silences, and lasted for a few hours, or I call them simply the silent hours. And I realized how negatively that affected our relationships, our relationship, and me specifically. The silence, the vibe in the home, it was awful. And it got me thinking about emotional blackmail. Of course, I've met with it many times in my life in different forms. Either do this, or I won't like you, or if you won't do this, I'll beat you up, or the worst cases when parents, or in this case, mother told or said to her child, if I will die because you're not this way or that way. And I know that person who had a mother like that, and he was suffering the consequences of that his entire life. Still does, actually. And it's such a tragic thing. See, emotional blackmail is simply a means to achieve something from the other person, or to force them to do, with invoking feelings of guilt, of fear, or of inadequacy. Basically, one of the worst things you can do, because if you hit a person, okay, they might be afraid of the pain, but the wound, the bruising will heal. But when it comes to emotional blackmail, it just piles up, and the emotional scars, they usually stay for life. And the irony of everything is that so many people who are themselves emotional blackmailers, so to speak, they went through it in their childhood, in their formative years. And this is simply a way of communication that they know. They don't know anything else. That's normal. They experienced it from their parents, from their relatives, siblings, friends, and this is how they communicate. They don't know any better. So usually they can't really help themselves. It's simply how they grew up. And then on the other hand, we have those who are blackmailed emotionally, and myself included. We just pile on the scars, the pain, the fear, the self-loathing, the weird mixture of love and loathing to the person who blackmails us, because we loved them before. That's why they can't hurt us. And this is a pattern that slowly sets in, and in time we ourselves become what we hate. And those chains, those cycles continue through the generations. I mean, the person who was emotionally blackmailed by his or her mother was usually the mother was blackmailed by her grandmother or grandfather or whomever. And that goes on and on and on. And it is on you, on us, who are emotionally blackmailed, to break the circle, so to speak. And I making this video because I actually managed to pull it off. And if I return to my wife's long silences, of course, I was hurt by it, and I tried everything to fix the problem, but she came home from work angry, just full of strain, and she blasted me with it, the AKA silent hours, and I couldn't fix a problem I did not cause. If I angered her directly, I would apologize, I would fix what I did, and the end. But because it was people at work, I can't do it for them. So I was simply the helpless victim in this case. And the only way I saw it as it was senseless to me. And I started thinking, observing, and I admit it triggered, after all that hurt passed a bit, it triggered a bit of a vindictive side of me. So when she was sitting on the couch, not looking at me, not talking to me, simply very obviously ignoring me, I sat next to her, right next to her, literally, and loudly proclaimed, "Ah, oh, finally, a little peace and quiet so I can read." And I started reading the book. I enjoyed it too. And I did that once, twice, maybe thrice, not more. And the silence had stopped, because every time you prove to that blackmail that the threat does not work on you, it stops. There's no point. I know other cases where my wife did the same thing with a near relative who had a tendency with long silences, and those silences could go on for on and on and on a really long time, and it's a matter of days, not hours. And when I told her, "Look, you don't like to listen to her anyway, she's bothering you all the time, enjoy it," she was like, "Oh, you're right." And so she started enjoying the peace and quiet. And what happened, it was less than an hour, and the silence stopped. Never happened to her again. And it's the same thing with every threat. Look, one of the worst threats they can give you is, "I will kill myself if you don't do this or that or whatever, or if because you don't love me enough or whatever." And the funny fact is that people who genuinely want to kill themselves, they just do it. They don't tell you they're going to do it. They don't go around brag about, "Look, come on, hey, tomorrow I'm gonna kill myself because that person was a righteous, you got the meaning." They just do it. They leave a little note detailing all the rights, the wrongs, and the sufferings they've gone through, but they don't tell it in advance. That would spoil the chances. While people who just threaten, they don't want to kill themselves. Then simply a means to achieving their goal, which is for you to do something you wouldn't do otherwise. So just encourage them to do it. Just tell them, "Look, do you need any help with that?" Things like that. And the bubble bursts, and the threats will end, because it does not work on you. I know the fear and the guilt, it can be overwhelming at times, but it is on you, because you are not yet quite caught in the pattern. You're simply a victim. And until you internalize the blackmailing way of communication, I suppose, you are still free of it, and you can change, you can break the chain, and you can really pull that person who blackmails you out of that truly awful and toxic pattern, and help them shape a better life for the both of you. You'll be free, and they will be as well. And from personal experience, is that it's worth it, absolutely worth it. And a life without emotional blackmail is just so much richer and more and happier and way more peaceful. So first off, I hope this video helped you or will help you. So a like and a subscribe would be very much appreciated, especially for the YouTube algorithms. I've noticed so many people suffering under emotional blackmail, and I think every single person should know these simple approaches. It's such a small thing, but the change it can enact is great. And Other than that, I wish you a happy, fulfilling, and guiltless life. All the best.